Yeah. Okay. Good morning and welcome to the State Ethics Commission meeting. Just a couple of administrative announcements. If you have a cell phone, please turn it off. And if you need to get my attention in regards to speaking, please raise your hand. First of all, I think we need to have a roll call. And if you are alone, please indicate if you're alone. I see Bev's there.
Okay, starting or recognizing the attendance of Sheriff Fong, myself, and Mile in the public hearing room. Starting with Commissioner Thielen.
I'm here and alone.
Thank you.
With
Commissioner Tobias.
With my rescue dog.
Commissioner Tobias, can you hear us yet, or are you still connecting to audio?
No, I think I can hear you fine, and it's Mrs., not Mr.
Oh, I said Commissioner. Sorry if I wasn't clear.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm here and alone.
Thank you. Turning to staff, Patrick.
Present and alone.
Thank you, Benita.
Present and alone.
Key.
Present and alone.
Jared.
Present and alone.
Jennifer.
Present and alone.
Okay, and giving an opportunity for members of the public, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Okay, so how about our guest here?
Judith Mills-Wong with League of Women Voters, President.
You're welcome. I was a little remiss. Today is, let's announce the 21st of February, and we started our meeting at 9:05 a.m. I'm glad that we have our commissioner from Kauai. And welcome, Bev.
Thank you.
All right. I have to read this. For any members of the public who may be joining us remotely, the Commission's video conference connection, if it's lost, we will reset the meeting and reconvene our connection until it's restored. Please check the Commission's website, which is www.ethics.hawaii.gov for information about reconnecting to the meeting. If the meeting is continued to a later date or terminated, information about this will be posted on our website. Any questions from the public? Okay. If not, first order of business is approval of the minutes from January 17th, 2024. Are there any corrections by the commissioners? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of January 17th, 2024.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tobias. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Moved and second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor, just raise your right hand. All right. Any objections? None. Motion's carried. All right. First on the agenda. I believe it is Director's Report, Education Training.
I can turn the education training report over to Benita.
Good morning. This is a brief update. Most of the information is in your meeting materials. We continue to see significant activity, particularly in the self-directed training modules. Last month, we had logged about 958 ethics training completions on the self-directed module. We also had a sizable number on the lobbyist law training completions, 186, I believe it was. For our outreach we specifically sent out information flyers to board administrators as well as charter school commission to ask their assistance in distributing to the charter schools and governing boards. The purpose is to kind of get out the information to let these sectors know about the training resources and requirements, particularly for new board members and employees. We also did outreach to the House and Senate clerks for the start of the new session, encouraging them to, remind all their new session hires and new permanent staffs to complete the requirements as part of their onboarding process at the front end. For agencies and continuing board members, beginning March, this is our financial disclosure season. So through the annual update process, where we reach out to agencies, we'll be getting the annual updates and their active headcounts, and try to get a update on their current training stats. And then in May, after the legislative session is done and board confirmation process is complete, we'll be reaching out to the board administrators for the second phase for their updates of current and new board members. So basically, March through June is our really busy season because of just the general financial disclosure time period and our continued outreach on training. And because it's an election year, we also have candidate financial disclosures to also manage, which due to a change in the law that we had proposed, I think the deadline is this year's June 14th for all candidates for state elective office. So we'll be managing that process while also, trying to increase the outreach for education. Thank you.
Great. Any questions for the commissioners? Any questions from the public? Bonita, we're getting to that 85% goal, right?
We're inching there. We're making improvements. It's only February.
Going by feet, not inches.
Way at a time.
But very good. Keep up the good work. Next.
Do you mind talking about the guidance and assignment statistics?
Sure. So we received 67 new complaints. We closed 67 complaints, so that's a fair amount of complaints, a large number. We had received a large number of complaints about a particular matter, and we managed to resolve those. So I think, from enforcement wise, we're moving at a pretty good clip. And yeah, any questions?
I have one. Because of our training, remember our mantra is be proactive in regards to training and enforcement. Since we had a good number of training sessions, has the number of complaints increased or decreased?
Well, this month is high, but it's high because of a particular matter that was addressed. In general, I would say when we hold trainings, we do receive more complaints and more AODs. So my personal experience is after a training, there's usually an influx of requests for advice, and then some of those will turn into complaints. But I don't think we've done a wholesale analysis of, that, but that's my personal experience.
So I would think, just as a layperson, that if you get training and you know that something may be improper, you would complain, because now you know it's improper. So now that we have our training and a lot of people know that certain things shouldn't be done in the state government, then I would assume that maybe you would have an increase. I don't know. Is that a good analogy?
No, that's absolutely how it works. I mean, when you do the trainings on the Zoom, a lot of people will stay after, ask you questions. Usually the AOD person gets a couple additional requests for advice, saying, "Oh, I've noticed that this is going on in the office. Is that okay?" And then some of those inevitably turn into complaints. So I think that's absolutely true.
Okay, good. Any questions from the commissioners?
No.
Any questions from the public? Okay, thanks a lot, Pete. Next.
So with regards to miscellaneous office projects and updates, as just a quick note, we did have an analyst position that was empty that we successfully hired somebody who comes with an incredible background. I can't wait to introduce you to her. She'll be starting next month, and hopefully at the next meeting we'll join. We'll be able to introduce her at that time. And then we, pursuant to a conversation we had about 2 months ago, we are working on I'm sure I can think of a better way of framing it, but a bottom-up set of recommendations for tasks to work on for this year, essentially kind of an annual target list of things to work on. So they would include, for example, the target of trying to get to 85% training and sort of steps that we'll take to try to get there. And so hopefully it's something we can talk about.
Okay, any questions? Speaking of miscellaneous office projects, I wanted to thank Carolyn and Jared in regards to helping us select artwork for our office. I'm sorry to say that all that artwork we selected before, which was, well, I thought it was very nice, disappeared because we were doing renovation and somebody cockroached our artwork. So it disappeared, you know. I guess they liked our selection so much they took it all. So hopefully we replenished it with some very how would you well, I guess good artwork. Yeah. So thank you very much to Caroline and Jared. And if you if you don't like what you see, come see me. If you like it, thank Caroline and Jared. So thank you. Also, I'm a little remiss because I see on the web app we have somebody from the Honolulu Ethics Commission, Laurie Wong. Welcome. So, hi. Okay. Laurie, you have anything to say that you want to say from the Honolulu Ethics Commission?
Hi there. Good morning. Nice to see everyone. Oh, wait, I don't have my camera on. Anyway, I'm just, oh, okay. You know what? Okay, I'm not quite sure what's happening. At least I don't have oh, here I am.
There you go.
I'm just glad I didn't come up like that one attorney that had that cat. You know that, you guys know what I'm talking about? Anyway, okay. I'm actually just here in my personal capacity. I saw some measures on your agenda in regard to the legislation that's going to be discussed. So anyway, just here in my personal capacity, great to see everyone, and looking forward to hearing more of your report and what's going on with the legislation.
Well, thank you and welcome. And if you want to chime in, just chime in.
Thank you,
I think, yeah, we have the same goals. So if you're in the city, we're on the state. So, but anyway, welcome. All right, moving right along. Discussion, that's item number 3 on media reports concerning ethics or the Ethics Commission's.
So just as a reminder, this is a standing topic item to give the commission the flexibility under the Sunshine Agenda to talk about recent news articles. So don't necessarily need to dive into any of these, just kind of giving the commission the opportunity to talk about, let's call it hot topics. I should note that the Honolulu Ethics Commission was in the paper today for their upcoming meeting, and some great coverage there of some of the things that they're trying to achieve. Just briefly flagging quite a bit of coverage from the Civil Beat Sunshine blog about sort of the legislative matters going on and sort of various status reports. And then there has been some coverage about the charter schools and the new executive director coming in and some of the background history with our office in regard. And finally, also some coverage about the nepotism law.
Yeah, let me ask a question. It kind of baffled me, that surprised me that I think it was in Shapiro's column, it mentioned a legislator having his wife on the payroll 15 years, and I thought that, you know, aren't they covered by our nepotism law that we had enacted? You want to explain that? I think you gave me an answer, so everybody knows It's kind of shocking.
Sure. So I think in part why we hailed it as such a victory to pass a nepotism law was the fact that state employees and any branch could hire relatives prior to the passage of that nepotism law. And even if there was nothing untoward in the hire from a public point of view, it looked, the appearance was improper or looked odd or wrong. And so in part, the nepotism law was to establish a bright line rule, essentially prohibiting that. In the alternative, it allowed for a good cause exception process, which we've committed to making a public process. So people would have to apply, and the explanation for why that exception is being granted has to be public and available for people to see and understand. So all that being said, there's nothing prior to the passage of law prohibiting this. On a going forward basis, the legislature has passed a rule which prohibits it from hiring. Both the House and Senate have separate rules which prohibit any type of nepotism hiring. And in the House rules, they do have a grandfather clause for people who have already been hired. With regard to the executive branch, the law applies. And with regard to the judiciary, I understand that they also similarly have rules in place which prohibit nepotism in general. So it's a long-winded way of saying, hopefully across all branches, we won't see nepotism without some type of public good cause process going forward.
It's working, guys, but there is a grandfather, what we call it, grandfather clause, and there's someplace that, you know, hopefully, eventually we'll not see any problem with nepotism in our state government. Any questions by the commissioner? Any questions by the public? Okay, thank you very much. Anything else anybody want to bring up from the public in regards to media or the commissioners? All right, moving right along, legislative matters, number 4. Robert, we've got a long list there.
Thank you, Chair. I don't intend to actually go through each and every bill. They are listed. The blue link is a hyperlink in our agenda, which allows people to click on and see the status. I'd like to cover a couple of the bills in particular and talk about them. And one of them, I'm hoping to get a motion from the commission. But I'm also available to talk about any of the bills if anybody has questions about anything in particular. The first one I'd like to just highlight, just because it's significant to us, our budget has moved through the House, and it is set for hearing with the Ways and Means Committee. I don't remember the exact date, maybe actually tomorrow. Yeah, it is tomorrow, sorry, it's the next hearing. So that is moving forward. We had asked for an additional position, a staff attorney position, that was not put into the proposed budget. And the explanation is that they're essentially trying to hold everyone to a 0% increase based on the Maui wildfires. I would call the new position a strong, nice to have, but not necessarily a need to have. And so, you know, again, understanding the current state's current financial position, I think we are doing fine with regards to our budget request. Everything else has been factored in and is moving forward. Shifting to another bill which did receive some media attention that I'd like to chat about is SB 2219, which is a revisions to the lobbyist law. The probably most significant portion of it, it did 2 things. It included interaction on procurement. So outside the procurement process, people soliciting contracts, proposing new projects. The idea would be is factoring that under the definition of lobbying and asking that be reported, so there's some transparency around that. Another aspect that it did is it included interactions outside of the administrative procedure process or quasi-judicial proceedings, where interactions are going to be between decision makers and folks being hired to communicate on behalf of others. Based on some of the feedback we received, we decided to drop out the second part, which is the administrative based on the fact that we think we need to sort of talk to more agencies and get more interaction proposal. And so it really tried to streamline and focus it specifically on the expansion to what we call procurement lobbying. One of the things in that bill set a presumption. If you were a lobbyist, so you're being paid to testify on behalf of someone else, some level of de minimis lobbying is currently allowed under law. So up to 5 hours a month or 10 hours in a year without having to be reported. We had proposed a presumption that if you submitted 10 pieces of testimony, you essentially met that de minimis threshold and would need to register and report. I think that got misconstrued in the public, and there were some social media efforts castigating that. So a lot of people testified in opposition, thinking that anyone who submitted 10 pieces of testimony would suddenly become a lobbyist, which was not true. However, again, just to avoid the misconception and avoid, I think, sort of the public backlash, we proposed removing that presumption out just to get rid of that issue entirely. So really, I do hope the focus is on specifically the procurement lobbying aspect of things and expansion, because that is a huge move. And I think it would be one that would really advance transparency more broadly and hopefully reduce the potential for corruption, waste, fraud on, the hundreds of millions of dollars per year that go out in contracts. So again, that bill is moving. It's going to be heard. It is moved through the Senate, and it, hopefully soon will move through the Senate and then go over to the House, and we can continue moving forward with that bill. Pause there quickly. Any questions on these two bills I talked about?
Any questions? Yes,
Yes.
Commissioner.
One thing that I didn't quite understand when you were saying it, you're saying that you removed it because you don't necessarily want people to have issues with, I guess, asking for something or giving something. Could you repeat that part again that you dropped?
Sure. There's a presumption in there that we proposed, which is if you are a lobbyist, which means you are paid to communicate with someone else, and you've submitted more than 10 pieces of testimony, then you would have to. And so that was a new addition. And I think people are misconstruing that as anyone who submitted 10 pieces of testimony would now have to register as a lobbyist. And rather than trying to combat the broader social media posts that are being posted and the hundreds of people who are submitting testimony, we simply decided to withdraw that language in order to preserve the bill itself more broadly and keep it moving forward. The changes to the procurement lobbying we thought were so important. We didn't want to see the bill die because people didn't quite understand it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the commissioners in regard to the bills that Robert just went through? Alva, from the public? Any more bills that you wanted to discuss?
One more. So there is a proposal, it's not one of our proposals, introduced Senate Bill 3350, which is a bill that would require judges, justices, and nominees for judicial vacancies to file a financial disclosure with the commission. A hearing already happened on this. Decision-making has not yet happened on it. I kind of anticipate the bill will continue to move, which is why I would like to ask the commission to adopt a position. So currently, judges and justices under the judicial code are filing financial disclosure statement. However, they do it on their website. They do not do it through the Ethics Commission. Many of the requirements are similar to ours. However, there are some tweaks there that are different and are probably worth at some point having a broader discussion on. The judiciary has opposed this bill, in large part because they argue that under the Constitution, only they essentially can administer themselves. And under the judicial code, essentially they're already doing the reporting, so essentially a change is unnecessary. I may not be quite characterizing it correctly, but hopefully that's a fair assessment. Specifically on a legal basis, again, looking at the Constitutional Convention, it does appear that when creating and establishing the Ethics Commission and the requirements of the Constitution, the drafters considered specifically expressly exempting the judiciary and opted not to and decided instead to leave it up to the legislature. So from a constitutional position, it does appear that this is something the legislature could require or not require. However, so having said that, we have been engaged in conversations with the judiciary, a broad set of ethics reform. We have committed to them that we think that they should be the ones leading on this. And so I am a bit concerned about pushing for legislative changes while also having a dialogue with the judiciary. Conversely, the idea of requiring nominees to file a financial disclosure statement, I think, is a good idea. That should be something that's available to the public prior to them being confirmed. So a long-winded way of saying, I would suggest potentially that we continue simply to comment on this bill. We can do it if the legislature decides to require us to accept the financial disclosure statements. I don't know if we necessarily need to support it, but I think we can continue to comment and basically indicate what we can or can't do, and continue to have the conversation with the judiciary. So long-winded way again of suggesting that our position be that we comment on it without necessarily supporting or opposing it, and stay involved. But I also don't think we should either, avoid the bill itself, but I think we should still continue to be a part of the conversation.
Questions by the commissioners? I think the bottom line is that this bill is really for transparency in the judiciary. To not include the judges and justices, but nominees. I think there was a little column in Shapiro's column about a nominee, so I think maybe that's what prompted this. It is not our bill. So I want to ask for the commissioners your comments. What would you like to do? You have a recommendation by our executive committee, and it's really up to the legislature, but do you want to put some input from us to support, comment, or just, well, whatever? Yes, Commissioner Tobias.
I think that if we leave it at comment, we'll be okay because we're not taking either side, pro or con. The other thing that I was wondering was whether or not the judiciary has a comment for us on the bill. What do they think? Are they against it? Are they saying that they're protected and they don't have to, or what is their feeling on this?
They have opposed the bill based on two considerations. One, they believe that they are already disclosing justices and judges under the judicial code. Second, they believe that the bill is silent as to who would enforce it. So for example, if a judge did not file with us, would we have enforcement capacity over that judge? And they're basically saying they have full authority over judges and justices. Purely from a legal basis, I don't know if that's accurate. However, I do think it's a part of the conversation with having the judiciary, and I sort of be apprehensive about jumping the cart, before, sort of finishing those dialogues or conversations. For example, if they were to clean up their financial disclosures or make them reformed, I think that may be a perfectly satisfactory end result. I don't know if we necessarily need to have jurisdiction over that.
And to elaborate on that, I'm jumping the gun on item number 5. We had a discussion with the judiciary and the Chief Justice's representatives plural, and they were very receptive of taking our comments, taking our suggestions. And maybe I'm jumping the gun. We've also invited them for a matter of transparency, because a lot of us don't know what they do. It's cloaked in it's cloaked in regards to secrecy. I don't know, but transparency, they didn't mind doing it. And we invited them to actually use our venue to explain to the public what is it that they're doing to really police their own ethics. And, if the public has questions, they can start asking them. We're not here to tell them what to do. but we would give them a venue in which to explain, because I think this was prompted by, what was happening in the United States, Supreme Court in regards to, ethics and transparency and billionaires and trips to Alaska, et cetera, et cetera. I think you already know, I don't have to go into that. And that's what prompted us to have a discussion with the judiciary, because we weren't very clear about, how they monitored their ethics within the judiciary, and they were very receptive. So again, we're gonna have another meeting with them, and maybe they can go and, take care of this. But I gather, Commissioner Tobias, you're saying make a comment, but not take a motion. Commissioner Thielen, what's your thoughts on this? Commissioner Thielen?
Whose bill is it again? Who was the sponsor?
I believe it was Senator Lee.
Does it, I'm a little uncomfortable weighing in substantively on it at this point, because it seems like we're working with the judiciary directly to come up with some sort of a program or a and this one isn't really a judiciary bill, and it comes from an individual senator. Am I correct?
I would have to. I know Senator Lee introduced it. I don't know if he had other sponsors or not, but yes, it's not an agency bill.
So I'd rather not go in substantively. I don't even know if we need to testify at all.
Our testimony to date was largely along the lines of we are talking to the judiciary about reform, and secondly, if enacted as drafted, we could do it without an increase in budget. So I think if we were to continue commenting, it would be solely on the fact that we could or could not do it. If changes happen, for example, it may impact our capacity to do it. So I think our comment would simply just be on our capacity to do it.
Let me put it this way, commissioners, unless I have a motion by either one of you, then I'll just ask for any comments that you may have in regards to this bill, because it's not our bill. So Commissioner Tobias, any comments or motion, or Commissioner Thielen, comments or motion?
No.
Not from me.
Okay, if that being the case, I think we've pretty much, we've discussed it to the fullest extent that we can, and we'll continue with our discussion with judiciary, and they're being very receptive to our, our thoughts. We're not going to tell them what to do. Okay, any questions or any comments from the public now about this bill? Okay, seeing there's none, any other bills that you want to comment?
I'm available for any questions people have, but I don't need to necessarily go into anything in particular.
I have one question, since I don't want to put her on the spot, but I will, because she's online. Laura, I know you're in the individual capacity. I'm going to throw it at you because you're with the Honolulu Ethics Commission. There's Senate Bill 2989. That kind of threw me. Is that our bill?
No, that is a bill introduced, I believe, by Leslie Hara.
Oh, my friend Leslie Hara. All right. I want to read it to you, Laura. If you don't have any comment, you can take it back, and maybe you can. I'll leave that one to you folks. And it basically says allows the Judicial Council to nominate persons for appointment to the County Ethics Commission, provided that the charter ordinance allows it. Any comments, or do you want to just take it back? I don't know. My understanding, like when I was on the Honolulu Liquor Commission, it's a direct appointment by the mayor. You don't do a vetting like we get in regards to the State Ethics Commission. We get vetted by the Judicial Council, and they select two, and they send it out to the governor, and the governor picks one of the two. Yours is direct appointment by the mayor.
Yeah.
Any comments?
I'm just speaking in my personal capacity. So what I understand the process to be is that it's they're appointed by the mayor and confirmed by city council. That's the process by which our commissioners are currently appointed. I can't really comment on this, on this piece of legislation, but I can bring it back to the commission. Actually, our meeting is today at 11:30, so.
We should be finished before that. You can rush back. But anyway, I was really, when I looked at it and I go, we didn't introduce it. So I thought maybe it'd be an item for discussion with your commission. So basically it's the state helping the county select its members of the ethics commission. Why, I don't know, but anyway, you can take it back. I wasn't gonna put you on the spot. I just thought, since you're here, I thought I'd just refer it to you. It's Senate Bill 2989. Okay, anyway, good luck.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments by commissioners or the public in regards to any of these bills? Okay, do we need more? No need. Okay, no action is necessary. Moving right along, let's see, item number 5, I think I've got a hit on it, but why don't you go ahead and elaborate on this if you want.
Again, as already stated, we've had interactions with the judicial branch. I think they've been receptive to input, and I think they have acknowledged that communicating to the public is important, to talk about what the process is, to make sure that if there's any concerns with ethics in the judiciary, that they are being proactive about reaching out. So I think they have been willing to have, public meetings talking about what their current process is and getting feedback. I think we are going to continue to formulate questions and suggestions. And I think we've tried to indicate we want to be a partner in improving, the public perception and addressing if there are any problems, addressing them. And so appreciate the dialogue we're having with the judiciary and their willingness to do that.
Now, just to remind you, the State Ethics Commission oversees 60,000 plus employees, but it does not include the judiciary.
Actually, sorry, if you don't mind, Chair, it does include judiciary employees.
Employees, yes, but not the
Judges.
judges, etc. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I really meant. So, they're in their own world. So we're trying to, you can't tell them what to do, but we want to help them be a little more transparent. And they're very, and I said, as Robert said, they're very receptive to our suggestions and our invitation for a venue for them to explain to the public how they, manage their ethics within the judiciary. I could say the judges and not just the employees, but the judges. So, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, all right. Any questions on that? Okay, let's move along. We gotta get Lori back to her meeting. All right, item number 6. I say I'm happy with, and I said hesitantly, but go ahead.
So item number 6 is Akana versus the Hawaii State Ethics Commission. So this has been a standing topic on our meeting agenda for a couple of years now.
6 years.
And I've been practicing the ability to say no update. And unfortunately now we do have a substantive update. We issued a press release, which is public. And so I think that's probably the best thing to point to on January 23rd, that a decision was reached by the Intermediate Court of Appeals, which reinforces the Commission's commitment to upholding ethical standards of conduct for all state employees. It essentially upheld the Ethics Commission's decision, the imposition of a $23,106 fine. Currently, we are waiting to see if The respondent in this case is going to file for cert with the Supreme Court. The cert deadline is a 30-day deadline, which we are asked, but they can get an automatic 30-day extension just upon request. So we have maybe another couple months to see what's going to happen on this case, and then hopefully it gets resolved and we can take it off the pending agenda item. Thank you, Commission, for all your hard work on this case. And the wheels of justice do move slowly, but they do move. And glad to see. I do have to say it was a very thorough opinion by the ICA with a lot of great language and great analysis, which hopefully we can rely upon going forward.
Let me just elaborate on that. The reason I'm chuckling is because I think I'm the last man standing in regards to this case. When I got on the commission more than 5 years ago, I believe, God, it's been long. That was one of the first contested cases that we had in the commission. In all the history of the commission, we've only had 3 contested cases, and this was one of them. And guess what? I got on the commission and we had a trial in a whole week. And we've been waiting for over 5-something years to get this resolved. So I'm waiting with bated breath that hopefully this is the end, and it's up to her to appeal. And then we can take it off the agenda, because I jokingly said, I wonder who's going to go first. We're going to resolve this case so my tenure ends on the commission. So stay tuned to the next meeting. And if you don't see it on the agenda, it means that is it, folks. We win, we go home. That's pretty much it. Correct?
That's correct.
All right.
And per my commitment, I did let former Chair and Commissioner Ray Geralty know, who is the person who I understand oversaw the contested case here.
Yes.
So he was quite happy to hear the news.
Yeah, don't pop the champagne yet. We're not finished. So I hate to say the fat lady thing, but anyway, the answer is wait till the next meeting. But Commissioner Tobias, you had your hand
Well,
up.
I was gonna ask, number one, had anybody contacted Ray, because I'm sure he heard it on the news. But number two, do you think, and you have no way of knowing, that she will take this even further? Because she said in her presentation on the news that she was gonna take it to, I think, the Supreme Court or somewhere. She was gonna take it because she felt it was still wrong.
You know as much as we do. I think
Okay.
we've seen.
That's why I said, don't celebrate yet.
Right.
Yeah, I have a few years more. I hope it'll be finished before I have my tenure. Then it's gonna be you folks take care of it. Any other questions or any comments from commissioners first? How about the public? Okay, that's it. Unless there's any other business, I'll entertain a motion. Is that any more business? That's it? Well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Don't all speak up at once.
So moved.
Second,
Oh, thank you. Move the second, we adjourn. The time is 9.
And we still need a vote.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I'm gonna give it the time. 9:49, all right. All in favor, I need a roll call on this.
I think generally we try to do a roll call vote just to make sure we have everyone's recorded.
All right, I'm gonna go back to the formality. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Thielen,
aye.
Vice Chair Tobias,
Aye.
Chair.
Aye, and thank you all for coming, especially the public. And let's take a 10-minute break. We'll resume for the Jufari part in 10 minutes. That'll be